May I ask all the speakers to show up in the screen? Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to spend some time to discuss on the common questions. We have collected a few questions on the chat, and because of the time constraint, we cannot answer all the questions. But I'd like to ask every speaker as of today as to whether we see a bright future after the COVID-19 pandemic. Actually, all the speakers mentioned that the COVID-19 pandemic was a challenge, but at the same time, it provided us some opportunity of going to the new direction of the higher education, particularly online course and online exchange are some potential programs. There are some questions among the audience that online courses could be further divided into on-demand and live online courses. And these styles have both pro and contra probably, and depending on the internet connectivity by the students, their value may be very much different. But anyhow, we can cope with all these problems and take advantage of various types of the course materials. So let me ask Professor Scheuer first. In your presentation, you mentioned that your professors are giving a hybrid type of courses. Do you think they can provide the courses in the classroom at the same time online as well? Do you have any experience about this?
Yeah, of course. Thank you for your question. So actually, I didn't come into the detail for today's presentation, but I should maybe specify that at Sciences Po, our decision for this current semester and possibly next semester, we decided to create a double campus. So we have our physical campus, and we added to that a comprehensive, complete digital campus. And that's what we call hybrid, and that then have consequences on all courses. So some of our courses, due to the sanitary regulations and the fact that we need to keep distanciation, are only put online. That's the case of large conference hall amphitheater courses, for instance. And the student may be on campus or maybe in another country. It won't change his or her experience. It's the same. Now, the real question in terms of equity, and that connects to a question I think I received in the chat by Martin Virenga from Leiden, is that we also made sure that as much as possible, if we can, we would also do on-campus courses. So then how do you reconcile this with the fact that we want to retain and maintain and guarantee equity between our students? Because some of our students are not on campus, and you don't have to be international to be away. I mean, some French local students cannot be on campus for other reasons as well. And that's when we made sure that all courses that are done on campus in presential are also connected online with students who are not here. And that's simultaneous. So in other words, I would teach my course. I would have with me the lucky students who can be on campus, but I also have with me in the classroom only through a screen like we are today, but still we are together, aren't we? And it's better than not being together at all. And so these students can still access the classroom. So the notion of simultaneity and equity of the classroom experience is protected. And again, I think this equity component is very important, because what we wanted to avoid is that certain students who could be on campus would enjoy the one-on-one experience with the faculty, And those who are not on campus, and again, these are international students, but also disabled students or students who are sick, who are vulnerable, who have people who are sick at home, who cannot come. We did not want that these students would have to bear with a standalone education only made for them in the box. So we deployed all efforts to make sure that the notion of being together in the classroom could be protected.
Thank you very much. That's very innovative. There is one question to Professor Won, Chinese University of Hong Kong. I suppose you are going to continue this virtual student exchange policy, but even after the COVID-19 pandemic, when the student can physically move, how do you combine this virtual exchange program with actual physical exchange?
Thank you, Professor Obe. I think the international virtual student exchange will continue since we have just started our pilot program. We are already very excited to see a great variety of online courses contributed by our partner institutions. What I'm thinking is, in future, there will be this dual mode of international student exchange in a way that we will be able to do a kind of a more diverse type of online learning international student exchange. Give you an example, the dual degree that student might be able to spend time physically in this part of the world doing in-service training, in-service program, internship, or service learning program. But they can go back home and spend back home in their home university to do the academic part, so that their experience of an international academic, or we should not even use academic anymore, or international student exchange will be more fruitful. They will attain a greater spectrum of experiences in the exchange. So this is something that we have in mind. Also, we have, well, other than the dual degree, we also have in mind that some of our students who might get caught in career placement, that they will not be able to travel physically to, for example, to Japan, to Keio, to engage themselves in the international exchange, which in fact in the past, we have had actually quite a number of students because they found an internship, so they will not be able to travel outside of Hong Kong to do their international exchange. So in that sense, we will be able to either shorten the program from an academic year to a semester, or even within a semester, they can travel to do they can do their intern back home and again doing online learning through this new arrangement. I think over time, the virtual student exchange will be enriched, more elaborated, with more participation from our partner institutions. But we are not saving the travel industry, that's all, if we are trying to promote very much well, again, on this international student virtual exchange. So we have to think ways to help the travel industry in a way. So we're actually getting our students to participate in our hotel tourism and hospitality program to think ahead of time what will be the brave new normal that they have to embrace in the future.
Thank you very much, Professor Won. There's one question that repeatedly pop up in my window. This is, how did the partner or host university reap benefits or profit if students are availing of courses of no tuition cost while they are enrolled at home? So this is based on the student exchange policy. But if Professor Inakage, if you have an answer, please.
Sure. I think the GID Global Innovation Design Program and SEMS program, both of them are working on that same principle. Students pay only to the home institution, not to the host. Of course, one needs to cover the travel expenses, living expenses, and all the other ones, but the tuition will be based on the home institution policy. And so I think even if it's online, if you are going to access the intellectual property of your the host institution or partner institution, but the important thing I think is it needs to be reciprocal. It's not one way. So if one student gets benefit from partner school, the partner school students should benefit from the other side of the partners. And if this works, I think the equation will be balanced as well. Of course, each institution have different tuition base, so there's a small difference in terms of how much you have to pay, but that's given already pre-COVID world. One thing I want to mention, I think because we are going to the new normal society and everyone will be working from home and more flexible work style and lifestyle, it is important students that know how to cope with that environment and be able to act and find friends and collaborate online. And not only in your own nation, but globally as well. And I think that will be a very important competence for students to learn. And so from my school, we will continue the full online education, because if you can do everything online, you should do online. If there are things that you cannot do online, then the exploration will be how do you design in the physical space. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So actually, fee waiver policy applies to either online or physical exchange. And future students post-COVID-19 era, they need pen, PC, and internet connection will be mandatory, as I understand.